The turnaround story of an untrained, unwanted dog that gets a second chance with our Pet Trainer 911. Plus everything you need to know before you pick out your next puppy. And a map is always good when you go on a road trip, but what else do you need when you take Fido along for the ride? Find out next on Animal Attractions.
It's not unusual for someone to be hurt when a couple gets divorced. But in this particular instance, the one most affected was the family pet.
It was a very sad story. Well, most people split up, separate. They fighting over who's going to get the dog. So in this case, it was very sad because neither one of them wanted the dog. And they told me that they will leave him outside the front yard and they'll put the bag by the door, the dog bag. Well, when I pulled up, the dog had his head down. He was looking all sad. Hey, buddy, you ready to go, huh? And I guess he even knew. And they were gone, and the house was up for sale. You ready to go? Come here. Come here. You ready to go, huh? We're gonna find you a home, buddy. Let me get your stuff. They never had him trained, so he was tearing up everything. Tearing the garbage up, the chairs, jumping up on the table, counter surfing, trying to get food. And so they would tell him no, whatever, but he would constantly just stay up there, and they were kind of fed up with this dog. The dog didn't get any attention. The family was working, kids were gone, and you know, they would come home and the dog would be, you know, out in the yard or just in a room by himself. He would get bored, nobody to play with, and he was only doing what a dog gonna do. I was happy that they asked me to take the dog because I knew that I can train this dog and find this dog a nice home. Everybody wants a trained dog. Well, when I picked him up and me and him was riding back to boot camp, I was talking to him, letting him know that I have some other dogs at my house. I got some plans for you. He's gonna be able to play with them and be a dog. Look at here, look what I got. I let him out and I introduced him to the two dogs and let him see who was who and saying their names to him. There's Moses right there. You see him, huh? Well, it was very important for me, before I started training him, to bond him with other dogs and let him play and to let him know that he's not going to be alone anymore. He's going to be with me most of the time and my family, let him know that he won't be alone. After he started coming to me and my family was loving on him and just crazy about him, and he got used to me, then I knew he was ready to be trained. Heel. Place. Every dog needs to know the basics. Place. I needed him to first learn how to walk on the side of me. Place. I always work the dog on the left side. And what we're going to do is start off him not pulling me. Place. And then I'll train him how to sit on my left side and to sit right on the side of me and not out in front of me. Because if he's letting him sit out in front of you, then that way he'll start pulling you because he'll be a leader. So you want to show him you are the leader. For place, when I'm turning, I'll hit the side of my leg and tell him, place. Place? That's a good boy. And I'll say that command for when I got him off the leash and I call him and tell him, come here, I'll say place and start walking. And he knows his place. Sit, down, stay. Well, he picked up the basics real fast. That's how smart that dog was. He was just waiting on somebody to train him. Heel. One of his commands that he needed to know before I found him a home, he needed to know that word, leave it. So what I do, I'll set him up. I'll put something on my table, on my stove, and he would get up there and I would just tell him, leave it. So when we let him loose and to play, and he got in my flower bed out in the back. And I seen him, so I went over there and I told him to leave it. Leave it, leave it, leave it. And he moved right away from it. believe it. And since I knew that he was listening to me, he was doing good, he was ready for me to find him a home.
I really didn't know I needed a dog, and in fact, I hadn't even considered having one, frankly.
I knew of a family, it was a big family. They had sons, kids, and he had his own business, and this would be a good dog for him.
I was probably working 10-hour, 12-hour days on a fairly consistent basis. So having a dog or anything at home, I just would feel bad leaving it there all the time.
The family wanted a dog that they can take to work. So I knew that there was going to be a lot of action going on in there, and that dog had to just settle right in with the family. Hey man, how you doing?
How you doing?
All right. So what I do, I'll take him to different places, to different car lots or stores. I'll take him to different places to get him used to the atmosphere that he's going to be living.
Coach was watching my folks' dog, and so when my mother went to pick it up, Winston, their pug, Coach had this beautiful chocolate lab hanging out in the yard that he was looking for a new home for.
Well, I hope they like you. So when I took the dog over to meet Jordan over at the business, when I see him, he told me, he said, I'm not too sure that I'll be able to deal with it. So I told him, you keep the dog for 2 or 3 days.
And little did I know, but that was the end of it.
And I gave him a list of commands. And I say, you say these commands and walk him and love him and make him your dog. And then I'm going to check back with you in a couple of days and you tell me then.
At first, I was fearful of how my life might change because I knew it was going to change. And when it ended up changing for the better, it just made me, it's made me a better person having Wrigley. I'm a little bit less selfish, probably. And also, I don't work as many long hours at the office. I try to go home earlier. We hang out at the house. I can work from there, and he can kind of be relaxing in his normal spot in the couch or right underneath my feet on his little bed there. And that way we can take breaks and throw the ball and play and go out to the beach and such. So he's really added a lot to my life, and it's been nice having something to take care of like that.
Well, when I walked in the door, he was smiling from ear to ear, and I asked him about the dog, and he wanted to keep that dog. So therefore, I knew I had to train Jordan now. So when you walk him, you tell him to heel.
Coach does different sessions on the weekends where we'll go out to a park and he'll train the owners more than the dog because the dog is ready to go.
And he walks on your left.
Okay.
So when I started off, Jordan, is how to hold the leash and how to make the dog walk on the side of him and to take him through his commands, his obedience.
Okay, stop, sit, down. Now I notice he's got kind of like a choke type collar or something on there. What's that?
Yeah, it's a pinch collar. It's pecking orders.
Oh, okay.
It's passing over power to you to let the dog listen to you for now. And then after 30 days, you see you won't have to use that pinch collar.
Okay, and it doesn't hurt him?
Doesn't hurt him at all. You just tell him heel and start walking.
Heel?
And if he doesn't listen to you, just give him a little tug, and you'll see it doesn't hurt him or anything. He just responds to you better.
Place. He seems to be listening pretty good. Come on.
Yeah.
After doing that a couple times, I really felt like I had a pretty decent control. My main concern was just making sure, if he ran out into traffic, would he stop for me? And I think that getting him from Coach already trained really helped out.
Jordan did great. He picked the commands up, and he worked right with me. And I could see him and the dog were bonding.
Here, I got these samples for you.
Oh, good. And everybody loved this dog at the business. And the dog will be there forever with Jordan and at the business. And every once in a while, I'm going to stop by there and see the dog.
He has made a complete pet owner, pet lover out of me forever.
This was a sad story, but in the end, it turned out to be fantastic.